Hi, everyone. Are you ready to be fired up? Because I sure am. I've got my best friend here since I was 15. How many years is that?
It's a few.
33, 33 years with me, Raquel, and she is a professional yoga instructor / she works with people to help them actually have a better life. And so we're going to talk about, because in real estate, as a local professional, we go through a lot. And she actually teaches people how to actually enjoy their life. Raquel, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
I love you. I'm so excited about this.
You.
Okay, so first of all, I want you guys to know that Raquel, she's the one who taught me how to drive. And there was this story one time, and we were like on this, she was teaching me how to drive a stick. And so we're on this hill, and I couldn't get the stick to like the car to go in the right way.
We were at a red light too. And so we were on this hill, and you started rolling back because you were trying to get from, out of first gear, and the car kept rolling back. It was a little bit scary.
So she gets out of the car and she's like, back up. You need to back up. She's going to hit you. And I'll just never forget. So, and Raquel was also my buddy who, we were kind of like the daring, there were 7 of us, 7 best friends. We're all still best friends now. We've been at each other's weddings. We've had babies together. And Raquel and I were probably, I would say we were the most adventurous, wouldn't you say?
Probably. Yeah, definitely. Actually.
Yeah. We were the least boring too, that's for sure. Anyway, okay, so best friend, tell us a little bit about your story. Like, first of all, how did you end up where you're at? And
Well, a number of years ago, right out of college, I actually was fortunate enough to get hired as a tech analyst in the financial services industry. And back then, this was the mid 90s, I really started to appreciate, based on my research, where technology was taking us. And because of my carpal tunnel and tendonitis in my wrists, I actually got back into yoga, which my aunt had introduced me to when I was 8. And what I found was that it really just sparked something in my heart. And I knew that that was, something I wanted to investigate more. And having majored in economics, my mom was incredibly surprised that I decided to give up my career in the financial services industry to actually embark on this new career as a yoga instructor. If you fast forward a few years after I had started teaching, my husband and I were in a accident on a quad, and I injured my neck. I had lateral whiplash and had injured my right shoulder. And, after a few months, I just kind of figured that was normal, just healing time that was required. And then a year went by, and then another year. And, after 5 years, something really ignited in me this tenacity to get to the bottom of my chronic pain. And that's when I really was introduced to fascia, connective tissue, how the mind works and how the mind changes when an individual has lived with chronic pain for a number of years. Once I became pain-free, it really led me to better understand how I can influence and improve the quality of life that people are currently living in when they are living with chronic pain day in, day out, night after night, year after year. So, and that's what I do. I help people think out of the pill box so that they can enjoy their life.
I love it. She helps people think out of the pill box. So you understand, Raquel gets into this ATV accident, and while her kids are wanting to go up to Trinity and get the Christmas tree, she can't go because she's in so much pain she can't make it. And it really started affecting her psyche. And so when she was able to get it under control, and she calls it mind, mouth, movement. And the reason I have her on right now is I just had a summit. It was an awesome summit, 5 days long. And we had 2 different groups in, and on the last group, the mastery group, I had Raquel come in and do a training, and everyone just absolutely loved it. Their eyes were wide open. So I wanted her to come here and kind of talk to you a little bit about the strategies that she's teaching other people. And understand, when you're in pain, it can be something that you might it seems little to you or not a big deal, but it messes with not just your physically, but your mental status and your quality of life. So
it changes your brain. It literally changes the wiring in your brain.
So explain that.
Sure. So, what we understand, let's first just back up a little bit. So, the difference between acute and chronic pain. Acute is, you injure yourself and you quote unquote heal within a reasonable time frame. Chronic pain, of course, is when you continue to experience pain far beyond the duration of time that the medical community or the medical establishment would consider appropriate.
Mhm.
Maybe they say, oh, within 3 months, or maybe within 10 or 11 months, you should be back to normal. And those several months pass, and guess
But
what?
even when somebody's in pain for like, for me, when my back hurts for a month or two or a couple of weeks, I mean, it just messes me up. So, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
to me, even a couple of weeks worth of having some kind of it really messes my mind.
Yeah. And what I found in my own lived experience was, you know, how it literally changes your behavior. It changes your thoughts. It changes you from being, the fun, wrestling, camping mom, the one who loves going out on the boat, fishing, or, wakeboarding, to the one who just all of a sudden becomes the observer.
Or even just the cheer mom or dad, or the dad that wants to,
Oh, yeah.
give the kids a piggyback ride, or pick them up to take them to bed at night. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just, it affects every aspect of your life when you're in pain.
Yeah. And, tying into our productivity, when you are in chronic pain, it starts to change your narrative. It starts to make you question, your own worth, your ability to contribute, your ability to add value, not only in your personal relationships, your friendships, but also, in terms of your work environment. And what I found was that when we start to disconnect from what we feel our purpose is and how we are able to contribute to our community, to our society, to our employer, or when we're self-employed, that you start immediately experiencing diminishing returns, right? And as an econ major, I really look at things, with an economist's lens. So when you are living with chronic pain, there's an opportunity cost to that. Because when you are experiencing chronic pain, that time that's invested in your suffering is taking you away from time that can be used more productively.
So when you're in pain, you are less productive, you have less energy, happiness goes down, serotonin goes down. I mean, all these different parts of our brain chemistry changes, and we're not able to show up like we should. We don't show up like that leader,
Yeah.
like that, that agent or that lender who's just super, confident and ready to go up there and enthusiastic and change the world. I mean, it messes every part of you up.
Yeah. And I think what I really want to challenge everyone to consider is, how is it that your quality of life, your productivity, your income for that matter, is being influenced by...
Did you guys hear that? Your income. Your income is being influenced by the fact that you are living in chronic pain and not doing anything about it.
Yeah, and I would argue that your ability to concentrate, your ability to focus, your ability to be creative, imaginative, retain new information, as you're learning. Maybe you're in your program, going through modules and trying to understand how to use Facebook, or how to become a community market leader. How is it that this chronic pain is changing literally the structural integrity of your brain, the hormones in your brain and in your body, where it is making you not handle stress well, or it is making you, experience that brain fog where you're there, but you're really just not.
Yeah, and also you're not as good with your kids. Then you feel guilty about not being as, being that happy mom. You're not connecting with your spouse as much. Like every aspect of
everything is really, really negatively impacted. And then all of a sudden, what do you see? You see people start saying this kind of thing. Oh, I have lower back pain, or I suffer from chronic neck pain, but you know what? It's always like that. It's like they're normal. They've brought the bar down. They've
It's like
lowered
their
the bar.
pain is hijacking their body and
Oh,
hijacking
yeah.
their mental, who they are.
Oh, absolutely. To the point where if you've lived with chronic pain long enough, you really start to not even recognize who you are.
Now we've talked about chronic pain, how what's the word? Debilitating it can be. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And how it can not only hijack your own body, but your actual whole existence, how you show up as a parent, how you show up as a spouse, how you show up as a community market leader, as a professional. Now we're going to talk about the mind, mouth, movement aspects of chronic pain and what are the solutions? If somebody's listening right now and they are experiencing chronic pain, or even quite, not even, it has to be so long, but enough that this pain is really affecting their productivity, their income, their happiness, what are the solutions?
First of all, I think that, one of the things that triggered me to look at my relationship with pain a little bit differently was to really put on my business hat, which might sound a little peculiar. But I really started to look at my chronic pain through this cost-benefit analysis, right? What was this costing me? And we've already talked a little bit about, how it negatively impacts your relationship. It negatively impacts, your intimacy or your desire to be intimate. And your contribution, your worth, your productivity at work. In terms of benefits, I really don't find a benefit to living with chronic pain, but I think there is a message within the mess, right? Chronic pain turns our life into an ugly mess, and in that regard, I tell my clients, what is your pain trying to express to you? It could be, coming to terms with a really negative marriage, an unhealthy marriage. It can be an old trauma. And oftentimes, and the neuroscience is showing this, that our trauma, our memories, our experiences from the past greatly influence how we perceive pain in the present.
Explain that.
Meaning, for example, if in fact you've had a trauma, a childhood that was incredibly either, let's just say, violent, or you were a victim of abuse, or there was, alcoholism,
mental, sexual, whatever type, physical.
Exactly. And maybe this is better expressed through a story. I've worked with people and spoken with people who, maybe just sprained their ankle, and it really just didn't seem like that big of a deal. And really, after decades, never recovered. And through, working with me and creating their healing team, which is part of, working with my program, identifying who your support team is, really understood how a terrible loss in their past, coupled with, maybe not just their best friend passing away, but maybe their horse and other things, and then also a divorce, really started manifesting in that discomfort. And that
so are you saying that basically traumas that happen to us as adults or as children can manifest themselves in a physical state?
Absolutely. The issues are in our tissues.
The issues are in our tissues. Wow.
Yeah.
This reminds me of EMDR, how EMDR is so helpful in getting people to get past through psychological problems.
I'm so glad you said that. I often recommend a lot of my clients, just based on our connection and, what's shared with me. And again, going back to that healing team, people who really believe in your capacity, in your human bodies, your human brain's ability to overcome and heal, that you're able to actually connect with people who help you release that stuck stress and, really release that trauma and that pain and that emotional hurt.
So the pain isn't necessarily just physical pain. It's what I want everyone to really get that here is that it's not just physical pain. It's mental pain or psychological, emotional pain that that then manifests itself in a physical way, or Absolutely. It could just be just the mental pain.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay. If you look at our society and the level of stress that most of us live with day in, day out, and our bodies, frankly, are not designed to function in that sympathetic nervous system, right? That fight or flight, freeze response, and within the autonomic nervous system, you also have the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the side of the nervous system where you're really repairing, digesting, restoring, recuperating. But when you're living in this high stress, information, data is constantly bombarding you with
cell phone, Twitter, Facebook, dings, messages.
Then you're not giving your central nervous system, your brain, your your connective tissue or fascia an opportunity to be in an environment where it's actually being, supported in a safe place to heal, to change.
Wow. So what are the solutions? So somebody's listening to this right now and they're like, Raquel, Krista, I'm stressed out. I have a lot of anxiety. I can never get enough done.
It's almost counterintuitive. What I always recommend my clients do is start by really assessing how they're using their 3Ms. Those 3Ms are their mind, their movement, and their mouth. Now I'll just kind of dive into the mouth piece here. The mouthpiece, when I start working with clients, they'll say, oh my gosh, Raquel, don't tell me you're going to put me on a diet. I don't want to go on a diet. I'm like, no, it's not just about your nutrition, although nutrition plays a critical role, because we do know that foods are greatly tied to, putting your body in an inflammatory state. So yeah, we definitely want to highlight that and respect the role that food can be medicine, but also language. How are you using your mouth to really manifest and complement the negative thoughts from your chronic pain? And by that, I mean, I've had clients who often will initially, when we start working together, they're like, oh, this damn leg, or this bleeping, neck of mine. And, really this negative and derogatory place that they catch themselves in. And we start talking about how that mouthpiece is really tied to how that chronic pain has influenced the structural integrity of your brain, right? Your mind. And when we talk about the mind, that first M within the 3Ms, it's really understanding pain. Like, how can we better understand pain and what the neuroscience is sharing with us, what pain science is telling us, to come from a place of knowledge, a different understanding, a different relationship to our own pain, and then maybe start incorporating how and why a sense of mindfulness or a level of meditation can start to undo or maybe recreate some new pathways within our brain to start changing our relationship with our pain. And then of course the other M is your movement. I have clients, who are one extreme or the other. I have clients who, even through their pain, they're like, boom, boom, boom. They're just like pushing through it. No matter how much hip pain, no matter if they're limping, no matter if they're walking funny, they're still walking, 18,000 steps, 20,000 steps. And, those clients, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens if you
slow down. Yeah.
Right. And those are really interesting characters, right? In terms of like, oh, they're just like A-type personalities and they're going for it and they're going for it and they're pushing through it. Now, then I have the other extreme, right? Where the chronic pain has really hijacked not just their mind, but also they are, there's this like pain catastrophizing or central sensitization where you really have this, this avoidance, like you're so fearful of triggering a spasm, triggering pain, where you're just like, hell no, I'm just not doing anything, right? Maybe they're gaining a lot of weight. So then how can we encourage movement, but not maybe a kickboxing class, right? Maybe not something incredibly strenuous. And that's really where I find the magic happens. It's where we can incorporate movement that's subtle but profoundly effective to help you feel like you can breathe again, or like you can really relax again. So the 3Ms, again, are your mind, your movement, and your mouth. And what I found—
And mind being thoughts,
your
thinking,
thoughts,
saying.
Absolutely. And when you consider how many thoughts we have in the course of a day, the reality is most of us, even if you're not living with chronic pain, you tend to be pretty hard on yourself, right?
Yes. We have between 70,000 and 80,000 thoughts a day.
Exactly.
So we have to be very mindful as far as what we're saying, because your mind is a mental roadmap to get you what you want. You get what you think. Energy goes where focus flows. You get what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So self-talk and thoughts are so powerful to keep those in check.
And when people start, to just take the pause enough to really start to just notice the integrity and the quality of their thoughts, then it's not that far-fetched to say, wow, what if I purposely say something positive? What if I purposely spin it into something that's actually nice?
Mm-hmm.
And, teaching ourselves again to be gentle on ourselves and to be kind to ourselves is really a practice, and slowing things down, our thoughts as well as our movement in particular, can really have a profound effect on how we're feeling overall.
So a strategy for you, if you're listening, we have our students do this in the program, is to get a bracelet or a hair tie, one that you can remove. And anytime you say anything that is not being nice to yourself, putting yourself down, things like, I don't look good enough, it's too hard, I can't do that, there's already a top producer, the market is, overwhelmed, I haven't been doing this long enough, I'm fat, I'm skinny, my hair is too long, my hair is too short, my nose is big, whatever it might be, my husband's a jerk, it's too hard, I'm not good with technology. Anytime you say any type of negative thought, you're going to recognize that you're saying it, take the rubber band, move it on the other hand, and then restate the thought in a positive manner. First of all, what you're going to find is this. You're going to realize how often you're mean to yourself, just how bad you talk to yourself, just how much you put yourself down.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to realize that you'd have no friends at all if you talk to your friends the way you speak to yourself. So that's a great activity. Within a week or two, you're going to start noticing yourself purposely, like the easy thoughts, the positive thoughts, the self-positive affirmations are going to start coming easier. Those around you are going to start noticing it. They're going to start doing it. It's an amazing thing. Mm-hmm. So that is mind. Keep your mind intact.
And can I add one thing about the mind piece? What I really have found effective is really beginning to understand behavioral change, right? In behavioral sciences, where you really start to understand how when the brain hijacks, or when pain hijacks your brain, how it begins to cultivate these really negative and patterns, habits that don't serve you. They don't serve you in any aspect of your life, your relationships, again, your productivity. And so
your money that you make.
Yeah. So when it comes to using, your mind within the 3 M's, part of the process, in terms of working with my clients, is how can we start cultivating new, healthy habits that don't have to take, so much effort, that aren't so incredibly intimidating, that can actually start to give you these steps towards success, where you're just starting to feel like, hey, you know what, I can do this, and I don't have to trigger some type of flare up or some kind of, difficult or painful response. So behavioral change is a part of the M that refers to the mind.
Okay, and we've got only a few minutes left here. So now, mouth, what you eat. So now mouth is what you eat.
What you
also
say.
What you're saying, and all that has a huge aspect. And then movement, whether it's doing less or doing more, just changing what you're doing. And what I want to really, I love how they all just are so intertwined.
They are. You can't really separate one from the other, especially when you've been living with chronic pain for, really over several months.
And again, remember, emotional or physical, they're intertwined. They both go together.
Yeah, they do. And really, chronic pain can turn into its own disease. And that's what, doctors are really, and scientists are really starting to help people understand. When you've lived with chronic pain for so long, the pain itself becomes the disease.
Yes, I love it. So first of all, you're so smart, like wicked smart. Raquel's the kind of person where she just has vast knowledge, and don't ever get into a fight with her, because she can think of things like to say so quickly. I'm just like, can't do it. Like, she always roasts me whenever we ever have little disagreements growing up. Pepper, no. Then lastly, how can people, if they want to learn more about what you do, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, there's a couple of ways.
Just give us one, because it's
okay, sure,
the easiest way.
RaquelOtis.com.
RaquelOtis.com, and we'll put in the show notes other ways, but one call to action for those that are doing it.
Yeah, got it. And I definitely want to just convey to everybody as we wrap up that the amount of time that's really required to make subtle yet significant changes in the quality of your life when you've been living with chronic pain doesn't have to be an hour and a half a day. And that also, the idea that, I don't have the time for this. Yes. I don't have time to take care of myself and slow down. We can just gift ourselves maybe 5 or 10 minutes on one day, maybe 20 or 30 minutes another day. And maybe one day on the weekend, maybe you do have 45 or 60 minutes, but just moving the needle forward, even if it's a little tiny bit every single day, is something, and it's better than nothing.
It's like the slight edge. Every little bit adds up to massive action later. Yeah. I like that, because people are afraid of taking care of themselves. They don't have the time. So they just continue to make their life become worse and worse. So Raquel, you've been awesome. RaquelOtis.com. Please, if you're suffering from chronic pain or mental pain, reach out to her. We'll have more information in the show notes. She has a gift for you that you can download by clicking the link, and we'll get you a gift from Raquel. And thank you so much, best friend.
Thank you for having me.
I love you. You're awesome.
I love you.
Okay, but remember, it's great to learn, but without taking action, you're going to be stuck in the same place. In order to see true change in our business, we need to take true change in the actions that we take. Learning is awesome, but without implementing, you're going to be in the exact same place. You can't keep doing what you've always done and expect a different result, right?
So true.
Okay, everyone so bad, Raquel, thank you so much. And as always, thank you so much for spending a small portion of your day with me. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.